We are just waiting for it to be 7 o'clock and then we'll start.
Hi, this is Manohar. I am from Lions Club, Sanjay Nagar.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I'm Chaitanya from Talgatpura, U for Vas.
Okay, Chaitanya.
Hello, Harish. This is Kishore Rao. Hello, Osha.
Hi, this is Ramesh from Talgatpura, U for Vas.
Okay, good.
Hello all, this is Madhuri from Friends of Lakes.
Mr. Rajiv, good evening. This is Colonel Rajiv from Tata Sherwood.
Welcome, Colonel. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay, it's 7. I think if it's okay, we'll start. Harish? You're muted, Harish.
Yeah.
Harish, just to lay just sort of protocol, since all of us are doing this for the first time. Harish, and to all of you, welcome. I will make a few opening statements, and then I will get to hearing all of you out for some suggestions that I want from you. And Harish, if I mention a name, somebody in your team should unmute that person, and then that person can talk.
That is done, sir. Yeah.
Okay, great. So anyway, namaste, good evening.
I am Iyer Advocate.
Namaste. Yes. So anyway, welcome all of you to this this engagement on with RWAs and citizen groups. It has been now almost 40 days since we went into lockdown. Namma Bengaluru went into lockdown, and I wanted to just reach out and speak to you before we move into the next stage of this fight against the coronavirus. First of all, many of you have helped and contributed in the effort to feed the people who needed some help and who needed not just feeding them, but also providing them support. So to all of you who have in this group, thank you. Awas, groups like Awas, Namma Bengaluru Foundation have done an excellent job, and it shows the spirit of Bengaluru, the character of our city, that we are out there reaching out and supporting those who need the help. So this is a very important 40 days where a lot of people were very vulnerable, feeling very desperate. And I think citizen groups, many citizen groups have come out and helped. It is really satisfying for me to see not just the help being given to human beings who needed the help, but also, for example, NGOs who came out to care for animals. There were organizations like CARE that came out. So to all of you, a great thank you not for any other reason, because it vindicates my belief in the spirit of citizenship and the spirit of Bengaluru citizens. Now, the reason I think the reason I wanted to meet with you and speak with you today in this form is that after 40 days, the city is going to slowly now move into a stage, and the nation indeed is going to move into a stage where we are going to unwind the lockdown. Already in the state of Karnataka, 10 districts, which are the green districts, have been opened up considerably. Industrial activity, commercial activity have been permitted outside municipal jurisdictions. And so it is conceivable that in the next few days or weeks, Bengaluru also will open up. So I wanted to hear from you, what are your views, what are your concerns as we set out to reboot Bengaluru, to use that phrase, rebooting. What kind of precautions, and why? Because the reason I say this is because even today we have no cure for the coronavirus. And so even if there is a flattening of the curve, it is primarily because we have, through the lockdown, limited human contact, and we have, in a sense, forcibly maintained social distancing. As we unwind the lockdown, the hard lockdown method of maintaining social distancing will be replaced by something more voluntary and something less rigid. And therefore the risks of these the virus spreading, the risk of it again peaking are fairly high. So it calls for a certain amount of discipline, certain amount of regulations that do not, that mean in effect that we don't go back to the pre-coronavirus days of Bengaluru, at least not for the short term. So keeping in mind that there is still no cure, keeping in mind that our medical system remains where it was more or less before the last 40 days with some incremental increase in capacity, I wanted to hear from you what your views are about opening up Bengaluru. What kind of precautions, what kind of opening up do you think will work for keeping in mind both the economic activity required as well as the most important issue of health and safety, and of course the important issue that the people who are underprivileged and who are vulnerable do not suffer at all, not in the 40 days and not going forward. So these are my opening comments. This is the reason why I wanted to speak to you. And I'm happy to take any suggestions, ideas from you as you have them. So you can start by telling me who wants to speak, and Narasimha can start. He's the first. Somebody unmute him. Narasimha. ಹೇಳಿ
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಹೇಳಿ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್. ಹೇಳಿ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಏನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್?
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಈಗ ಸರಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಈಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವದಾದ್ಯಂತ ಈ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಕೊರೋನಾ ಹೆಮ್ಮಾರಿ ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದಂತಹ ಮುನ್ನೆಚ್ಚರಿಕೆ ಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಲ್ಲದಂತೆ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಆವರಿಸಿ ತೊಂದರೆಗೆ ಈಡು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಹುಟ್ಟಾಕಿದವರು ಯಾರು, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇದು ಮೂಲ ಬಂತು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಮುಂದೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲಾದ್ರೂ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚಿಂತನೆ ನಡೆಸಬಹುದು. ಆದರೆ ಈಗ ನಾವು ಯುದ್ಧ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈ ಯುದ್ಧ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಚರ್ಚೆಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಎದುರಾಳಿಯನ್ನ ಎದುರಿಸುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇಂತಹ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ತಮಗೀಗಾಗಲೇ ಅರಿವಾಗಿದೆ, ಅಕ್ಷರ ಮತ್ತು ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಇವೆರಡು ಬಹಳ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿವೆ. ಅಕ್ಷರ ಅಂದ ಮಾತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೀ ಓದು ಬರಹ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಪದವಿ ಉನ್ನತ ಪದವಿಗಳು ಮಾತ್ರವಲ್ಲ. ಅಕ್ಷರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಸಂಸ್ಕೃತನಾಗಿ ನಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು, ನಡೆ ನುಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಚ್ಚರ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಇದು ಅಕ್ಷರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗಳಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತವಾಗಿರುವುದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮಶುದ್ಧಿ ಹೇಗಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ನಡೆಗೂ ನುಡಿಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನಡತೆ ಹೇಗಿದೆ, ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗ್ತದೆ. ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ವಿಸ್ತರಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಅಕ್ಷರ ಆರೋಗ್ಯವನ್ನ.
ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎನಿ ಸಜೆಷನ್ಸ್ ತಾವು ಇಮೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Yeah, I'll come back to you.
Yes, please.
Okay, that we will discuss separately. That I know. So this is ಇವತ್ತು ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕರೋನಾ ಮಾರಿಯಿಂದಾಗಿ ಅಕ್ಷರ ಮತ್ತು ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಎರಡೂ ಬೆತ್ತಲಾಗಿವೆ. ನಾವು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಹಾಕಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೋನಾ ರೋಗಿಗಳನ್ನ ಶುಶ್ರೂಷೆ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತವಾದ ಆರೋಗ್ಯಕರವಾದ ಒಂದು ತಂಡದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಪಂದ್ಯವನ್ನ ಆಡುವಾಗ ನಾವು 11 ಜನವು ಕೂಡಿ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಆಡಿ ಬೌಲ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಬೌಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ವಿಕೆಟ್ ಕೀಪರ್ ವಿಕೆಟ್ ಕೀಪಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಬ್ಯಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಬ್ಯಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಾಗೆ ನಾವು ತಂಡದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕವನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಇಂತಹ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳು, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಖಾಸಗಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಂತು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿವೆ? ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಖಾಸಗಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗೆ 1 ದಿವಸ 2 ದಿವಸ 3 ದಿವಸ ನಾವೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ದು ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಲಕ್ಷಗಟ್ಟಲೆ ನಾವು ಹಣವನ್ನು ತೆರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಂತಹ ಕಷ್ಟದ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಖಾಸಗಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳ ಪಾತ್ರ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಎರಡನೇದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳು, ವಿಕ್ಟೋರಿಯಾ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಬೋರಿಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, KC ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟರ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇಂತಹ ಕಷ್ಟದ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿದ್ಧತೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿವೆ ಅಥವಾ ಮಾಡಿವೆ? ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಂದರ್ಭಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ನಮಗೆ ಬೆತ್ತಲೆಯಾಗಿ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ತಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
ನರಸಿಂಹವ್ರೆ, ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಇಂಟರಪ್ಟ್. ಇದು ಬಹಳದು ಲಾಂಗ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಬೇಡ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎನಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್, ಯು ಸಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಟ್.
Okay.
Specific point. There are a lot of people are here in this.
Thank you for the interruption.
Thank you.
So we have to go in as a team to work on it. Even people have to become a team. Even the government has to become a team. Team in the sense, in the state government, see, for the health minister talks something else, the higher education minister talks some other things, and the home minister is something else. Chief minister is not able to coordinate all this.
Okay.
So in the state government itself, a teamwork is very essential, and people have to cooperate with this. So teamwork is essential. That is not very point. Now we are lacking of teamwork.
Okay. Thank you. Aparna Ponnappa, please. Thank you, Narasimha. Unmute, please.
Yeah. So I've just unmuted myself. Yes. Hi, I'm Aparna Ponnappa, and I'm speaking to you all from a place called, it's one of our distribution centers, and we've got a big team together, and we call ourselves COVID Relief Bangalore. As of now, we've already coordinated 50,000 kits. Each of those kits serve a family of 5 for a week. And we've also worked with a multitude of agencies to kind of get another equivalent amount and kind of really staved off starvation and starvation deaths, which you're not hearing.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
One of the that we have, so we've been doing food relief work. We are happy to note that the government over the last 2-3 days has started reaching the seasonal migrants. Okay, so people who are not vote banks and things like that weren't getting food. Now they started getting it. We ourselves now, because food has started reaching them from the proper channels, would want to translate our energies into redevelopment, because there's a huge ethos amongst the poor that they want to kind of just get back to their states. But if you kind of talk to them about why they came in the first place, is their states itself have offered them very pathetic opportunities in terms of livelihood. When we look at them as to why they came to Bangalore, they came because of the weather, like any software person or you and me would have come. I myself am a migrant in a sense. And also there are opportunities here. Now, we have worked with Namma Bengaluru Foundation earlier on a private-public partnership kind of an arrangement for Lal Bagh, to do a clean, green, safe Lal Bagh and start a lot of projects there. So, for example, cleaning contracts and lake route rejuvenation and all of that. Now, we've made a list of projects that can be done, short-term and long-term. So, and at various skill levels. So, they're from drain clearing to a lot of, see, for example, KEB has put up a lot of power systems and things like that and taken it underground, but they need to clean the rubble.
But Aparna, just a quick question.
Yeah.
I get your point that you are saying give the migrants opportunities to work in Bengaluru.
Yes.
So if you can give me a note, I think it's a very good idea.
Absolutely.
We are working on it, on something which is an Manrega equivalent for cities.
Absolutely.
So, 100%. If you have any ideas, send it to me.
Yes.
It is something that I am also very convinced about.
Yes.
If you send me some ideas, I'll develop it and I will forward it to you.
Yes, I will send a mail, and thanks a lot for this. I'm going to get off this call because I have a couple of other meetings.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir, Kaushik from Vijayanagar. Hello, can I speak?
Just on the same note, what he had spoken.
Hello, sir. Can
Go
I
ahead,
speak?
Kaushik. Yes, go ahead, Kaushik.
Sir, good evening. Actually, last time when we met on MSME, I think also I've sent a detailed report. Hope
Yes.
it has reached you and kindly look into it.
Yes.
But quickly talking about the points is, as the madam said, we also can do a similar exercise in the industry also after the post May 3rd open, because a lot of people have MSME sector have employed a lot of UP and Bihar guys basically. So if the government has also issued a 50% capacity to work, there will be a lot of companies where the major employees will be there in Bangalore, and they might have after utilizing 50% also still there will be some employees working here. So they can also look into that employee swapping thing where the other companies can be helped. That is one thing where to reboot the industry. Major thing is for the fruit sellers and other small food or vegetable vendors. I think the government can look at to some kind of strict policies or some kind of guidelines where everybody will the message can be reached through us or through kind of any kind of media where they can maintain some hygiene, some other points like that. That is very missing, because suddenly in the evening a lot of people are outside on the streets and people are walking as in they want or something according to their wish. Those only for essential needs they can come out. Such kind of strict measures are not able to.
Kaushik, after the 3rd,
yeah,
or some date,
yeah,
there will be a gradually opening up.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying it will happen on 3rd. That will be decided by the government.
Okay, correct.
But I am asking today, the reason for this call is what suggestions you have for the government in terms of the norms for managing social distancing, hygiene in your neighborhood, in your residential area, in your ward. If you have any ideas and suggestions, think about it also. You don't have to decide today. I want to start the process of thinking.
Only one thing, sir. Only one thing. What I saw is the evening, ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಣ್ಣು ತಗೊಳಕ್ ಬರೋರು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ತಗೊಳಕ್ ಬರೋರು, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಆನ್ ದ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲರ್ ಆನ್ ದ ರೋಡ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಮಾರೋರ ಹತ್ರ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಇವ್ರಿಗೂ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ ತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದೇ ಕಡೆ ಲೈನ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಪಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಪಲ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ತರಕಾರಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಫ್ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೆಲ್ ದಟ್
you want it only for a few hours, you want it. Just give me a suggestion like that. You give me a small note. Trust me, even your MSME note is being used. So all your inputs will go to the government, and I will make sure I follow up with them. So give me your suggestions on the email. Sneha.
Yeah.
Sneha, are you there?
Definitely, sir. As you said, yeah.
Thank you. Kaushik, you send me an email. Kaushik, you send me an email.
Okay. Yeah, sure, definitely. Sneha? Definitely, sir. Definitely. Thank you.
Sneha, can you go ahead? Illa, Sneha, I can't hear you. Sneha, will you come back with I think your internet connection is... Anita, you want to go? You want to start?
Quick thought on a catch-22. Am I unmuted? Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
On kind of a catch-22 situation. I think what we have observed is that people, at least the communities I worked in, which are the urban poor, resident, daily wage earning communities, are all very, very conscious and understand today what social distancing is. It's how we take it forward publicly. It could be anything from, we have so many autos going all over making announcements at times. It could be different ways in which the conscientization of these people is done, while the system itself is able to do, where the people are going to be. It's not so simple to say they are clean, everything is in place. Let them just have the spaces a little more organized. That's all we need. I mean, if social distancing means being apart a little bit, it also means that let's take care of this. Also, let's make sure the masking systems are in place within awareness development that's going on. People are doing it. Let everybody keep on promoting that concept. We need, I think, a lot of very conspicuous I don't want to say hoardings alone, but very conspicuous
communication.
TV. Yes, we need, constant punching of this through the visuals to say how important it is. People are noticing it and observing it and doing it, at least in the poorer classes, who are the ones who are spilling out on the streets. I think people like vendors, I don't want to, I'm a little afraid to say must be given a card or anything. We have enough card systems. But if they're identified by the local people and they know them very well, then there should not be a problem when they have that. As right now, we have to go and get a pass and everything. I think people also know, all the vendors, especially pushcart vendors and so on. I'm going to be focusing much more on their employment needs, which again is picking up a lot of the NREGA kind of things that's been said, so I don't want to repeat. And we can slot out all that and say where that can happen too. Other thing is to also get the ward committees activated. There are links all over. People are linked to that. And there are representatives. Maybe it can be enhanced a little bit more with the relief committee activities between the, every community now has a relief committee almost. It's like they have created their own, and even the local CBOs and the youth are all activated in pretty much many areas. I'm talking about resident labor communities. I'm not talking about the migrant labor. And pretty often they're being mixed up. I think it's important that the government recognizes this too, and makes a difference about these people. So if that is done, I think the
recognize the difference between
the migrant labor versus
resident labor,
daily wage earners who are resident labor, who are living in the communities we call slums or urban poor communities. And this is constantly getting mixed up in even the service of the food packages. And one last thing I'd like to say, and then wait for many people waiting, is to say that the distribution system is most haphazard. It is not community-based. It is always talking about only the impact is, of course, labor. It is importantly labor. But everybody who's unable to leave a home and go out is not able to earn their livelihoods. I'm talking again the poorer classes only. I can't talk for the other communities right now. So I think it is important to somehow make a much more efficient distribution system and realize that we need it. We need few more tranches of this. It's not going to end that people are on the streets, they're working, they have no capital, they have no risk, seed capital.
So it should continue for at least 1 or 2 more weeks.
It definitely has to continue. The relief, the food relief has to continue. Minimum 2 more weeks. And then if we don't have another spike, we don't have another lockdown, we have to review this whole thing.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So these are some of the views.
Well, thank you, Vanita.
Sure. Okay.
Sneha, are you back? Harish, will you just unmute Sneha? She's muted. Yeah, Sneha, are you there?
In the meantime, I'm Nagaraj Rao, President, Bangalore Apartment Federation. Can I talk?
Yes, go ahead, Nagaraj.
Apartments?
Yes, go ahead.
We have about 750 apartments, Bangalore.
Okay.
We have an excellent, nice network. BBMP Commissioner and Police Commissioner took a Zoom meeting with all the people before starting this.
Right.
And they were very happy with the network that we have.
Right.
Yeah, I have about 2-3 points to continue.
Please.
The precautionary measures to be taken in apartments post-COVID. Post-COVID. What are the measures to be taken?
Post-lockdown.
Post-lockdown, sorry. Post-lockdown, sorry.
Post-lockdown is 2022.
2020. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second thing is, there are a lot of professional personnel in the community, in the gated community. Now, there is some difference, whether 50% should work, 50% should work from home. They have the advantage of working from home.
Correct.
So some policy to be laid out. Then the third one is, most of the apartments are feeling the pressure on the maids and the cooks entry, whom we have restricted right now. Some relief on that, what could be the guidelines like. And we have requested the BBMP Commissioner and also Police Commissioner to take another call on all the RWAS through Zoom and tell us what are the things to be done. You are aware that there are a lot of, educated people in the thing, and then we have not repeated Badra Empora anywhere in the apartments, sir.
Right.
That's all what I wanted to say.
Okay. Nitin, thank you, Nagaraj.
I hope you can hear me.
Nitin,
okay. Can you hear me, Rajiv?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So I've got intervention in the following areas. Number one is my suggestion to the government is some geographical granularity in Bangalore when demarcating red, orange, and green areas.
Yes.
The initial stage, I would suggest that probably phase one after the lockdown gets lifted, it can be at the ward level. After another week or 2 weeks, it can go into the road or block level within a ward out here, right? This is number one. Second is I would request a sort of timed way that these activities are phased in. For example, the Punjab government just recently said that they would be extending their lockdown, but the shops, they would open for 4 hours, 7 to 11. Now, without getting into that time specifically, I would think that would be a great approach for phase one of the lift out, when non-essential shops, which have actually those are all small stakeholders who have suffered a lot of erosion in profits and incomes over the last 1 month, right? If they would be allowed to open for, let us say, 4 hours, from, let us say, I'm just speaking a time randomly, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Why 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.? Because that avoids the rush of people going to work, coming back from work. As far as industries and other businesses are concerned.
Nitin, just stop there a minute. Just stop a minute. Have you seen the guidelines of the Karnataka government for the green zones?
I've read it briefly.
It allows all shops,
right,
excepting malls and large multi-brand places, all shops to remain open at 50% capacity. So these issues are addressed in the this what we are doing in the 10 districts is a trial to see how it works there. That is why I'm saying if there is anything more you want, Yakendra, Bangalore is much more dense. Is there any other precaution that you want the government to take?
I would suggest in Bangalore, Rajiv, we should be time driven because there are many areas where the shops are literally cheek by jowl. Okay. We don't want a free for all right through the day, especially in the early morning time and in the evening time. I would suggest that in Bangalore, as a precaution, we start with a midday period, which is less crowded, less congested. As far as businesses, factories, etc., opening up, I would seriously suggest that we start up in the green and orange zones to allow one shift of working for people who work multiple shift in manufacturing businesses, for example. You ask them to start with one shift. You let that run for 2 weeks or so, evaluate the situation. And third, perhaps we should still have an evening curfew in place, starting from, let's say, 6:30. Everyone who is out to work at these allowed for things can get back to their homes by 6:30. Let's have an evening curfew in place so that we don't have this unnecessary loitering around the roads.
Okay.
After 2 weeks, we can review it. We can give relaxations.
Okay. Thanks, Nitin.
That would be the approach that I would suggest to the government.
Okay. Ramesh Dutt, do you want to speak? Ramesh Dutt?
I personally feel is if the industries are small-scale industries are open, what is the transport mechanism? What is the transport availability? Different parts of Bangalore, they are going to come to the industrial areas. How will they go back and how will they come? This is what the main thing that is bothering a small-scale industry people. I mean, we are having factory, we are fabricating factories. How are we going?
No, if you see, Mr. Dutt, the guidelines issued by the government day before yesterday on the 10 green zones, 10 green districts of Karnataka, the government is very clear that all factories outside the municipal limits, that is outside a city, are allowed to be open, 50% staff, social distancing, and the transportation of the employees are to be done by the employer. This is now outside Bangalore. Bangalore bagge namge we still don't know what the thinking of the government is. That is why I'm asking you. In my opinion, and this is my personal opinion, that the instinct will be for factories that open or establishments that open, they will be requested to transport their employees on their own, rather than allowing for free-for-all transport and use of public transport, which is what the guidelines of Karnataka government today for the 10 districts are.
Yeah, no, even if we are arranging, the companies are arranging the transport means,
yes,
in the four-wheelers, it's only driver and another person.
yes.
As motorcycles can only come only one.
It'll be buses. It'll have to be, if you are transporting multiple people, it will have to be buses with social distancing.
Yeah, that has to be ensured, and we see leaving it to the management to do it.
Come out. If you please Google, if you just go to your computer after this call, day before yesterday, the government of Karnataka has issued the guidelines. If you Google it, you can read it. It's a pretty very straightforward. The Chief Secretary has issued the guidelines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely there that we have to have. Then my last point is this: we have to have systematic for a short period, for a week or 10 days, to open it out and see how it works, and then again go back and then revive it. This should be the way that we should be doing it.
100%. I can tell you the philosophy of the Prime Minister and indeed the government here is 40 days of sacrifice that we have all gone through. All of us have gone through a sacrifice of 40 days. Should not be allowed to go waste by just opening up and allowing this disease to again spike. So it will be calibrated. That is why this meeting, this conference is about understanding from you, if you have any specific suggestions that balances healthcare as well as opens out the city. Sneha, are you back there? Are you?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Great. Okay. So I think social distancing needs to become the norm, especially in areas, residential areas, right? RWS need to take the lead in ensuring their social distancing, that is maintained in shops. I agree with Nitin. I think non-essential commodities, we need to have, a specific time that they're open. They cannot be open through the day. And then we also need to importantly sensitize the cops, the police, and BBMP officials on social distancing. Somehow we've had a challenge in terms of sensitizing the cops about social distancing. And most importantly, I also need, politicians to follow social distancing. That seems to be, we find a lot of politicians and wannabe politicians, distributing ration across their wards or constituencies with absolutely no social distancing followed. I don't know what message they're sending out to their wards and constituencies. And we also need to, I think this is going to exist. It's not that the lockdown is coming out in the next whatever number of days, but we need to accept the fact that this virus is going to be around for a while. Right? I think this needs to become somewhere a part of life. Probably work from home will be a part of life for quite a few of us for some time, right? While we get used to the new norm, I think we also need to get used to social distancing and the likes, is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, so Sneha, I want to just interrupt here, and I want to just pick up on something that Anita Reddy just mentioned, which is something that I want all of you to just work on and come back to me with some ideas. How can we make ward committees much more involved in not, in a sense, not the word is not regulating, but overseeing what is going on and therefore protecting the health of the ward. Finally, it is the actions within a ward that will determine the health outcomes or the coronavirus outcomes in that community. So what can I suggest to the government, or what would you suggest that the government do to involve the ward committee and RWAs in finalizing the guidelines? For example, Indiranagar, your area is very different from, let's say, many other areas. So specifically, I am trying to argue that there should be specific guidelines for each of the wards. Instead of having a similar guideline for all wards, having specific guidelines depending on commercial intensity, commercial density, flats versus bungalows, homes versus sort of lower income group versus a middle class. Sneha, if you can apply your mind and give me, you, Nitin, give me some ideas on how to institutionalize the role of the ward committee
So we should, I think, sorry to interject you, but
Yeah,
I think we have Ms. Katyani Chamraj on the call.
Yes, I'll invite her next.
Yeah, so they have already filed an affidavit, and CJ has, so BBMP has now constituted the crisis management cells in each of the wards. So while that is there, considering the setup at this point in time of the ward committee, right? It is filled with, I mean, sorry to use a word, but it's really filled with corporator cronies. So I'm not too sure how effective the body is going to be in implementing something as crucial as this at this point in time. So yes, but we will definitely work on it, and we can come back to you with suggestions.
And it need not be ward committee. Sneha, it need not be ward committee. It could be, let's say, a group of RWAs.
Yes.
Okay, so you please work on that. Katyani, are you there?
Rajiv, so this is Subbu Hegde. Can I speak?
Where are you? I can't see you.
Okay. I have
I shouldn't be asking you. Where are you?
So there is connectivity in my house, so I out of house.
Yeah, go ahead, Subbu.
Can he see me now?
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah. My point is, in this lockdown, the RLA is playing a wide role. Like in our layout, 1,000 1,000 people. The association has ensured rules like nobody comes out of the house without the mask, and everybody keeps the distance.
Yes.
And we also have deployed thermometers in the entry points. So this is something which RWAs throughout the Bangalore are doing as a sense of responsibility.
Correct.
And if even after the lockdown is lifted, if the government can give a little help to the RWAs to maintain this, restrict the unnecessary traffic on the road and things like this, this can go a long way in ensuring social distance, also ensure hygiene and cleanliness in the residential areas.
Okay.
And going forward, perhaps we can even think of MOU with the WAs, like Sheila Dixit did in Delhi when she was the chief minister. She could develop a concept called Bhagidari, where government entered into an MOU with the residential associations, RWAs, and that is working very well. I suggest that should be introduced in Bangalore also.
Okay. Subbu, if you can put this down on a piece of paper, just email it to me. You know my email ID. Just give it to me in an idea. This is precisely what I asked Sneha and Nitin.
Yeah.
If we can create a model where RWAs play a Bhagidari type of a role in managing the coronavirus crisis in their neighborhood, it is something that the government would welcome, and it is completely in keeping with people's ownership of their own health security.
RC, whenever you have time, Vijay Menon here.
Vijay, go ahead.
I will do that. Sure. Thank you, Rajiv.
Can I go ahead?
Hi, Rajiv.
Yeah, go ahead,
hello, Rajiv. So, Mr. Rajiv, this is Rajiv here.
Rajiv, 1 second. I'll call you after I finish with Vijay Menon.
Yeah.
May I? Okay.
Yeah, Rajiv, I have just two very quick points.
Yes.
And based on some basic assumptions.
Yes.
That the coronavirus is going to be there for a long time and probably might get worse if you're not careful.
Correct.
So I believe while a lot of talk is about opening up, there is not enough communication from the government and from other places that social distancing and the way of thing does not end when the lockdown is eased.
Okay.
I have a funny feeling that the messages which are going down on the ground is that once that there is easing, then a lot of people will assume that life is back to normal.
Right.
Though there is a particular group of people who are enlightened who know about it, we are talking about a huge amount of people.
Okay.
Right? So that has to go through. That's number one. Number two is that we probably have to go into the Swedish kind of method of saying that look after the old people. And this is where the ward committees can really play a big role by identifying the elder citizens and really probably doing door-to-door kind of contacts with them to make sure they're okay and communicating that stay indoors for a much longer period of time. That's it. That's it from me.
Okay, thank you, Vijay. And your point is the same point that Anita referred to, etc.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, no worries. Somebody is sharing a screen. Can somebody delete that, please? Iyer VLV.
Can I meanwhile share my thoughts?
Rajiv, you wanted to speak?
Yes, please. Given a chance.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. So there are a couple of things which I wanted to suggest. Probably I can discuss with everyone in this group.
Yes.
So at this point of time, when we have completely disastrous situation because of the COVID-19 outbreak, so a lot of IT companies have given the chance to their employees to work from home, to work remotely. And nobody has noticed any kind of impact to the production because of this. So maybe from the government side, is there any possibility to implement some kind of a policy to all the corporates to make it mandatory for a certain amount or certain percentage of employees to work from home as part of the policy? So that's number one.
Yeah. So let me quickly answer that, Rajiv. Yesterday, it was announced, day before yesterday, by the IT Minister of Karnataka in coordination with the IT Minister of the Government of India, that IT companies will continue to work from home. It is now a stated policy that till that is reversed, people will work from home unless there is an explicit exemption for that.
Okay, wonderful. That's really great to know. So two more points I have with regards to the lockdown lifting up on 3rd of May. So I assume the BMTC and KSRTC buses will start to go on the road from 3rd of May. So if there is a possibility to have a very limited number of passengers traveling in a particular bus and the bus conductor to have an infrared temperature checker with them whenever somebody is boarding in, probably we can check the temperature of that person before he comes in.
Rajiv, the answer to that question is, it is not clear that public transport will be allowed in the first stage of the lockdown easing. So that is a big question mark, because the main principles guiding the easing of the lockdown will be, A, the zone has to be amber or green. Therefore, it should not be a hotspot. Number two, that the zone maintains social distancing and mask norms strictly, so that an amber and green zone does not go to becoming a red zone. These are the two broad principles around which a lockdown will be eased.
Okay.
The reason for my conversation with you today is, assuming, forget the public transport, those things will happen when they have to happen. And they will happen with the required guidelines of social distancing and the regulations of that. So let us not worry about that. I'm thinking of what specific things do you need to protect your neighborhood, to protect your community in terms of government intervention, government support.
Yeah,
so if you have any ideas on that, Rajiv, feel free to email me. Because
absolutely. So one more point which I wanted to share.
Yes.
So with regards to the cab services, right? We have Ola, we have Uber and a number of cabs.
Yes.
So until the situation is coming under control, can we scrap the idea of shared cab at this point of time?
Yeah, it will be unlikely. I told you the principle will be social distancing. If the principle is social distancing, there is no question of a shared cab.
Okay, another thought, not regards to any kind of suggestion, last one from me, I promise. So in Karnataka, right, we are doing really great in terms of testing the suspected cases. We have around 55,000 suspected cases that we have tested.
Right.
Now, how do we understand if the number of test cases are exactly going to the correct path? Because we have around 80 to 85 lakh people just in Bangalore city. So how do we understand that the number of test cases are correct and we are going in the right path?
Rajiv, let me tell you frankly, as somebody who is participating on a daily basis on a national review on this, there is no way anybody will know anything about this coronavirus till we find a vaccine, till we find a medicine. Till then, we are all, in a sense, mandated to maintain social distancing and all the precautions required, and knowing fully well that we do not know who's a carrier and who's not a carrier.
Right.
That is almost a default assumption in your mind.
Great.
Okay, so I will. Katyani, are you there? One second. Katyani, are you there? Harish, can you see Katyani anywhere? Because like she's messaged saying she's dropped off.
So Umesh, can I speak now?
Yeah, Umesh, go ahead.
Hi. So I'm Umesh from Bangalore Apartment Federation, General Council member.
Yes.
And leader for RR Nagar and Kengeri.
Okay.
So in this crisis, my suggestion is almost 2-3 things answered already. Somebody suggested for providing food kits for 15 days.
Yes.
It should be extended for 1 month because, they should get payment, monthly payments or something like that.
Okay.
Till they get payment, it should be extended. That is one thing.
Okay.
And we remember that Lal Bahadur Shastri had suggested for sacrificing 1 meal per day. If we all Indian, by some suggestions by Prime Minister or somebody like you, if you suggest to leave 1 meal per day or 1 meal per week also, it will be a great help to poor people, needy people who can take it. And it's not a big sacrifice also.
Right.
That is one. Almost Rotary also has started 1 meal donation from apartments, and we are going to take it up that also. That is another thing. And another suggestion is lockdown should not be opened at once. It should be in a phased manner, very careful manner, because whatever the good effort done by our government will go as a waste. So we should be very, very careful. That is one thing. And my suggestion is government is facing a lot of funds crisis because of GDP problem. So my suggestion is lot of government sponsored schemes have not taken up. This year, entire funds can be used for uplifting the poor people or downtrodden people.
Okay.
See, this scheme can be taken up later also. So another thing. So now, work from home already you answered. It will not be lifted, but it can be continued for either weekly, 1 day also, or 2 days also. It can be taken up later. It's a lot of advantage from work from home, and nobody has suffered now. It has helped in a lot of way. That is one thing. And to connect each person during this COVID war crisis, person has to be connected to one leader in ward. See, for example, MP coming to MLA, then to the corporator. From corporator, it goes to ward committee or blocks. There, each person has to stay somewhere in that area, ward area. So he has to be linked to that ward committee member. In turn, he will not be denied, he or she will not be denied either food or any benefits. If he or she has been denied, that person or committee member, ward committee member or corporator should be held responsible so that no one will be miss their benefits or go hungry. This is another suggestion. And one more is interest waiver in these 45 days, or it may go for further period of another, say, 15 days or 1 month like that. So all small and medium scale industries, small workers have taken loan from this. This interest has to be waived. That is. So last one is retired person. See, for example, we will be working with a lot of strain until we meet 60 years. Immediately, once we get retirement, we will become zero. So we are not using their talent. So this is the time you can use their talent to overcome this COVID crisis in many ways. Last but not the least is we have been educated through COVID warnings, awareness, everything through social media, TV channel, everything. But it has to go to slums and villages, thickly populated area, how best they can maintain social distance in a thickly populated area, in a slum, or in a area where there is no education. These are all my suggestions. Hope you can consider it.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you.
Hi, Rajesh, sir. Ram here. Can I?
Who's that?
Sir, Ram here. Sir, Ram Prakash.
Ram Prakash. Go ahead. Yes, Ram Prakash.
A couple of areas which probably, I guess, nobody touched upon till now. This one thing is waste management, because it's very critical that, we have to dispose of waste when it comes to solid and, dry waste, which is currently, to be honest, which is not happening properly. So it's very critical to dispose of mass. So a long-term view would be to have a pretty solid waste management system built in the form of apps. Like, you have this Ola app wherein the waste management, the vehicle is coming in 5 minutes, then you can just go and put the waste so that it will not get, so I have a proposal on that. I can, if possible, send it over to you.
Send it.
It's 99% on CSR guidelines. So I don't think it will cost much more. Okay. Then second thing is basically in this, the first thing is we have to basically go on a very war-footing basis to review all the CCTVs and have a sort of a machine learning or an AI algorithm by which the area can be tracked, and if there is any social distancing which is violated, an alert would be triggered out to the ward secretaries, police people, so that they can immediately come and take an action on that. That's number 2. And number 3 suggestion would be a migrants database, wherein, as suggested earlier by somebody, you can have a database of people, migrants, and you can have an interview session also. For example, if there is a new project coming up, you can basically go there and have an interview from the list of people with their skill sets, and you can conduct the interviews online, or if possible, probably going there and picking up. And basically that can be done in silos. Like you can have booths wherein they can come, go and then go back to their areas where they are quarantined, so that you can identify resources amongst migrant population and be ready so that you can employ them. Okay. And one more area is basically you can have a sort of so many people right now are not using the platforms properly. For example, I am pretty sure most of my friends list is not aware that there is an ICMR press conference happening at 1400 hours, 1600 hours every day, and they often claim that there is no information dissipated. So it should be probably made a norm that at any point of time, any TV channel should communicate this minutes of meeting of each ICMR update at the end of each update, so that you will not know.
Yeah. So if you have anything, just say. I've noted some of your points.
Yeah.
Including the communication. Vinod Jacob.
Manohar here.
Thank you, sir.
Vinod Jacob, are you there? Okay, Vinod Jacob is not there.
Can I?
Yeah, who's this? Who?
Radhakrishnan.
Huh? Who? Say the name, please. Ajit Naik. Okay, go ahead. Just for your information, I have 10 more minutes and we'll take about 4 more questions. Ajit Naik. Unmute Ajit Naik, please.
Manohar here. Can I speak?
Ajit Naik.
So can I?
Yeah, Ajit Naik, please speak.
Sir, we have been living in a liberal society for centuries. Okay, now all of a sudden this COVID-19 has come. And our entire way of life has to be changed. Now, whatever things have been done by government and whatever people are following is only a moral pressure, what we have been seeing. And you are one of the few intelligent MPs, lawmakers. The thing is, there may be requirement, the things are immediate requirement of another 10 days, then another 1 month, then another 3 months. You see, the thing is, India, we are a country of poor, may not be represented in this meeting. But the thing is, unless the herd immunity comes, it may be very difficult. And now, Ravi Shankar Prasad ji has done a very wonderful decision, because in Bangalore, what I want to say is most of the travelers are IT and catering people, all this. So IT, they should be strictly, that should continue for many more years.
Yes.
And then certain things, there may be requirement of a law. You see, we are very much concerned with celebrating so many functions on the roadside and all those things. Now COVID is there, we are stopped. But it is a lesson for us. So from the lawmakers, you should think of in that direction, because such functions should be stopped.
Thank you. Ajit, thank you. No, so there is going to be no allowing of large functions, don't worry. Even in the green zones, those are all not permitted at all. So any lockdown will not allowed back to the square one large curve. Sandeep Aniruddhan.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Sir, actually, everybody's been speaking about the lockdown and the lockdown measures, so I will not go there. Because I think it's largely understood that distancing is the only possibility until, as you mentioned, we find a cure or a vaccine.
Yes.
And even if a cure or vaccine is found, the rollout of this, manufacture and distribution of this is going to be a huge challenge.
Absolutely.
Until then, my question is this. Until something like that happens, and that period, I don't know if it's going to be a year or so, what will happen to businesses? What will happen to industries? Because the lockdown is already impacting cash flows. So a lot of businesses are going to crumble. So a lot of layoffs will happen. So a lot of unemployment will happen in this process. So then we will have a social problem immediately. We'll have one of unemployment, and that can break down into starvation, and it can also break down into law and order. So there can be a meltdown in society. Now, the second thing, and this might be a good opportunity to think about it, because a lot of people who are informed say that COVID is nothing. The bigger thing that is coming now is climate change impact, and that this will look like a joke in front of that. And one important conclusion that has come is, due to this lockdown, we have seen how our atmosphere can be cleaned up suddenly. Our water bodies have cleaned up, and generally it's become a healthier environment. So the message is very clear, and everybody's been talking about it, but nobody has had the gumption to take on a real law. Like, say, everybody says degrowth is the only solution for sustainability for our future.
Sandeep, sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'll address it.
No. I think you and I can discuss sustainability separately. It'll be a 2-hour conversation. I think sustainability is an important objective, and it is an important learning out of all this, for sure.
Hello, Mr. Rajiv.
No, I want to address the social issue.
Yeah, no, I got the point. We understand.
You can address 2 or 3 birds.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what I'm heading at.
Good.
I think the government will go into a knee-jerk mode very soon and try to do a stimulus package, which will only line big pockets, and the trickle down to the masses who are really affected will be negligible. Instead, there is something the Prime Minister spoke about a few years ago. He was indicating or hinting at the need for a universal basic income. I think this is an excellent scenario where it can be tested, because a lot of countries are already testing it for multiple scenarios. I think that will take care of immediate needs of people, and it will prevent a meltdown. At the same time, it will also address one more need. We will not need a knee-jerk stimulus, and the industries don't have to come back in a rush, or there need not be.
So let me answer this, Sandeep. You have seen today the world has announced big stimulus packages.
I understand, yeah.
India has not. I can assure you, and I am part of many conferences and video conferences with our party. Our main priority, and I speak as a politician and as a BJP MP, our main priority is the soft landing of the poor, soft landing of the people who are the most vulnerable out of this pandemic. So that is number 1 priority, number 2 priority, number 3 priority. Then the first set of priorities is MSMEs. There is no question of any fat cat having his pockets lined. There is no stimulus package that is going to come that is going to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. It is not going to happen on the watch of this government. So please be assured on that. Let me quickly move to Nalini. Nalini, are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking the call. So we have actually provided dry ration. Actually, you are in the. I'm still in the relief place in St. Joseph's. And a few things I would like to raise. I work in the informal sector of waste. I would like to request that the recycling industry to be considered as a priority sector. It's a continuum of solid waste management. Somebody talked about dry waste. The problem is the recycling is shut down. It is an MSME, but you have to consider it as a non-negotiable priority area. Otherwise, all our waste will be here. One. Okay. Second, in the relief, what is happening? All of us are trying to do. We still have 50,000 more people, people to reach out to, and we don't have resources. So government has to step in. There are a lot of circulars every day. 5-6 circulars are coming out, but we have not seen anything on the ground. That is an immediate one.
What you are? No. So just repeat that. You don't see what on the ground?
On the ground, we are not seeing the kits going to people, milk going to people. So what we would like to ask you to consider Anganwadis as your main resource. And every place has a Indira canteen. You can use that to issue the ration. So we are happy to work with you on the ground intelligence, which is what is lacking in the government. We are working with the government, but it is not enough. And the third thing I would really like to ask you, if it is possible, to open up all the primary health center for free medication. A lot of people have not been having the medication. One of our waste pickers' leg had to be amputated because he couldn't afford diabetic medicine.
In Bangalore, in Bangalore or in the state?
Only in the Bangalore I'm talking about. Okay. And with the waste pickers, cardiac issues are very high. That is a, it is an occupational problem, but cardiac medicines are not given by PHC. I would really request you to look at that. And if we stop working with the less, because we don't have resources, you will have a situation like, Bandra, which we don't want. We all have to work, so that we have worked very hard in the last 1 month. We don't want anybody go hungry in Bangalore.
Nalini, if you can do me a favor, please. I have written it down, but if you can just send me an email.
Absolutely.
2 paragraphs, I'll be.
And a few more suggestions, medium term, long term is there. I'll send it to you.
Please, thank you very much.
Radhakrishnan here. Can I make a point, please?
Yeah, Radhakrishnan, go ahead.
Hi. So Rajiv, I just have a small point. We were talking about RWAs getting involved in micromanagement of areas. And one point I want to touch on is how, in middle class and upper middle class areas, we can actually get the population involved in self-financing testing. And then you can, so that means that in large areas, we'll start to have cluster populations having been tested at our cost. Because I think it's difficult for government to cluster test large populations in our country. Right. And I think people would be more than happy to be involved in this. So cluster testing would give us data, and 6-8 weeks down the line, say things get worse, we can cluster test the same population to see where things have got worse. And I think that will help the ICMR folk. But the broad point is,
just let me interrupt here.
Yeah,
I think the testing today, the whole approach to testing is, given the finite number of test kits that we have, is that the test kits are used where test kits ought to be used. And for the rest of the population, we basically hopefully keep them safe through social distancing and through other forms of distancing. So cluster testing, I think, is a good idea, and I'll suggest it to the government. But is this the right time to do it at the time of easing of the lockdown, or is it something down the road? Is the question that will be asked. So you think about it.
I'll send you a mail on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Mr. Rajiv, this is Colonel Rajiv. I have a small query.
One second. I'll take 2 questions. Colonel, you go first, and then I'll take another last one.
So, Mr. Rajiv.
Go ahead. I can't hear you.
Can I?
Yeah.
Rajiv?
Who's that?
Facing issues on this.
Okay.
Some kind of and though we would like to have a solution, a midway solution, where we don't open it up completely, where all the maids, cooks, everything is back as usual. Also, it is a long term, like you said, till you actually have a solution or a vaccine, this is the norm. So we need to have some kind of a balanced view to this domestic help. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I mean, again, you're stating the problem. If you have a suggestion, just send it to me by email. It is an issue being raised by many people. I'll take one last question.
Lalita here.
Okay, Lalita, go ahead.
Lalita, go ahead. From HSR layout.
Yes.
Yeah, you had come to our apartment as well 2 years ago, if you remember, Akriti Silver
Yes.
Line. Yeah.
Yes.
So 2 things. See, I have been interacting with one migrant group here.
Okay.
There are about, say, these laborers who have lost their jobs. They were in some construction, this one. So is there any, see, I think they're not getting their jobs back. So they were talking to us, how do we get back to work and all this. Is there any kind of guidelines from the state or the central government to get them back to work? That's number one. Second is, we see that we also met few pregnant ladies there around. Their thing was that they are not, they cannot go and show themselves with the doctors because most of the things nearby are closed. And thirdly, there was one case who had a fever from Bihar. He has been with his mother alone. He was taken to NIMHANS, I think in the scare of this COVID, every hospital is just chasing the patients away, even without seeing what is the cause.
Yes.
And that person went into Rajiv Gandhi Health Sciences. Then he is now admitted to St. John's.
Yes.
In all this, he doesn't have a health card. They are approaching us for the health, finance help. In all this, why first is, I think hospitals have to be very sensitive to the patients, maybe with certain guidelines, how to check and not check. We've seen in papers, pregnant ladies died with a kid next day or whatever. Yeah. These 2-3 points. So for the laborers, what is the guideline for them to be kept in work safely? Second is these ladies who also think of going to their hometowns for deliveries, maybe in a month or 1.5 months. What is the norm for them? Thirdly, these, I think the health cases have to be taken up sensitively with little more care and some financial assistance. I don't know for this particular case, but I told Ayushman Bharat health card works for them, but if they're not from Karnataka, how does it work? I do not know. However, I'll send out an email on all this. I would like to hear from.
Yes. On Lalita, just a quick response on healthcare. As you know, because of the coronavirus issue, healthcare was shut down because of the fear of intermingling. And therefore, that will reopen. It will reopen slowly. But in any case, send me your points. I will put it down in my final note to the government. Mr. Iyer, you have been trying for a long time, so I will come to you.
Yeah. I would like to differ on one point which you made in the beginning.
That
there is no cure for COVID. It is very clear. Fatality in India is 3%. At least 80% of people are not getting much of a symptom worse. And our immunity is very good. That's one. Secondly, even my own classmate has made a suspension, which will treat it, but could not be tested with National Institute of Virology during lockdown. So, and then I heard about another person making a vaccine also in India. It's available, but it is going to come in very soon.
Yes.
Now, with regard to opening up, when we open up, I am very sure I am a corona warrior also. When ration is given, food is cut down. Now, when we relax it, they will neither get ration nor get food because it is again not going to upscale. Even I was cooking for 25 people myself. They asked me to cook again. I may not have the same josh. So we need to ensure that a statistics of migrant workers, jobless, homeless is taken into account. Government should provide food, move them to certain camps where, like if you close the education institution, move them there, give them food, and also ensure that this other state laborer staying here, he's got a ration card other state, but he's not getting anything here. So he has to be fed as well. So we need to work out a mechanism. I will also send you a separate note on this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another suggestion is about we need to create certain, see, everybody who is getting into this symptom doesn't require that he has to be isolated only. When we relax it, there must be more and more systems of mobile hospitals or mobile treatment centers where the person is given only a tablet is sufficient. Because when we get exposed, all will be able to deal with just getting medicines. I think it will not be a problem of community spread affecting us, increasing our fatality. Okay. I have more other points. I think I
will take Purnima Shetty last, second last, and then I'll take Nishant. Vijay Nishant, you'll be okay. Purnima, go ahead. Purnima,
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Rajiv. See, now, I mean, after hearing everybody speak, I think, to sum it up, we all know that this is the problem. And we all acknowledge that. Now, we also know that there are so many guidelines in place, the relief measures, everything. I'm saying if we can increase accountability through RWAs, because RWAs are very connected to the local community.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we can all get together, like, it's very easy for us to link, because in our ward itself, all our RWAs are all linked to each other.
Correct.
Right. If we can find out, to reduce duplicity of even the relief measures, plus if we can really see where the help is required, what has to be done, if we can help the government authorities to, as an additional eye or an additional support, I think that would be really helpful right now, because
so
everybody knows that this is what has to be needed.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll interrupt you. What I suggest is what I said in the beginning. If you, Nitin, there is Sneha, there are other RWAs here. If NBF, Harish, if you can be the glue, bring everybody together and come up with one note on how the government can involve RWAs.
Right.
In the management of the easing of the lockdown and the management of the healthcare and the food distribution going forward. If you can do that note as a joint note, then I am happy to pilot it with the government.
Absolutely, sir. We'll do that.
Absolutely, agree.
Vijay, we'll end with you.
Hello, sir. Sir, Nandu, yen suggestion andre. I have a suggestion. See now, a government can create a small app, okay, where it segregates people by their problem. See now, your reaching is a problem. So what you have to do is a simple app. GPS. I'm here, so I have a problem with this one. I don't getting a food. I'm not getting my grocery. I'm not getting a medicine or any kind of a thing. Now, same thing can be used with a RWA, where they go to slum and map every slum in localite. They can train hygiene, okay? They can supply the food, okay? They can do all this with the RWAs. And the moment you say, you know exactly, now somebody has told like, they have the labor pain or something, okay? Those are the prioritized problems that the government can pick straight away and we can segregate the problems. So if you make a simple app, there.
Okay. Okay. There is already an app, BBMP app is there. Then Arogya Setu app is there. All these apps are there.
But Arogya only for the health. They're checking where they are actually. But if you put
the app is there,
but food and all, no, sir, I don't think, sir, location-wise. See, that will be major things because, see, you'll know exactly the location. You can go and the minimum contact you can make with the requirement water and exactly it will be a solution for them. And the food is a priority.
Okay,
and that if you do it,
you give me some idea. You send it to me on email.
And it is a simple app. We can easily make it out, sir, actually.
Sure.
Please, because it's a minimum contact that will happen.
So, okay. Mr. Rajiv, one small suggestion from my side, if you permit 30 seconds.
Who's this?
Hello, sir. Farmers ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಬಹುದಾ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್?
ಹೇಳಿ.
ಉಮೇಶ್, ಈಗ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯವಸಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆತಕ್ಕಂತ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ರೈತರು ಮಾರಾಟಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ. ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಆಹಾರ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇದನ್ನ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗದೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇದನ್ನೇ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಂಚಿದ್ರೆ, ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಆಹಾರ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು GDPಗೂ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬಡವರಿಗೂ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕೌಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸರ್.
ಇಲ್ಲ, I agree with you. The agricultural sector is going to be fully protected. It is PM's commitment, CM's commitment.
Sir, purchase ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಕಣ್ಣೀರ್ ಇಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಈಗ
I know. There is some.
I am alone handling 25 tons of farmers' produce, distributing it to resident welfare associations. And
anyway, give me the point. Give me the separate point. Who was somebody else was talking just before I moved to me?
Myself.
Rajiv, go ahead, Rajiv.
So one last suggestion from my side. So all the frontline warriors like police and then ASA workers and then few volunteers like us, if you can help us with the PPE kit, because we are going out every day, mingling with people, supporting them with a lot of their requirements with groceries, medicines and food. So there are major.
You don't have PPEs? BBMP is not.
No, we don't have. We don't have PPEs.
Fine. You just be in touch with Harish and Harish, we can work out something with BBMP.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yaro?
This is Chaitanya.
Chaitanya.
Yeah. So in Talgatpura area limits, Talgatpura police has been doing a great job. As Vijay Nishant told, they have mapped in the Google map where people need the ration and where they need food packets, where they're being distributed. RWS and all the volunteers are helping them and it is reaching them, and rations are distributed once in 2 weeks.
Right. Excellent. Illa, I want to say, I'll just wrap up now because I'm also running out of time. First of all, I want to thank all of you for being involved today. I can tell you as a member of parliament and a proud citizen of Bengaluru, the last 40 days, it is a lot of the effort of citizens and NGOs and citizen groups that have really saved the city. And on that, please don't have any doubt. The difference between Mumbai and Bengaluru is not just that they had different political leadership and we had different political leadership. It is the spirit of the people, spirit of the police. It is such a different atmosphere in Bengaluru because of the spirit of the people. And that is the only thing that will keep us going as the lockdown is eased and as we take on the few coming months. Because there is no absolute guarantee about what will happen in coming months. There is, on one hand, we want to protect our health. On the other hand, we want to get out of the house, start working, start earning our living. But this is going to be a challenging period going forward. And that is why, unless we work with the government, that is, you work with the government, there is no solution. The government alone has no solution. So what has kept us going for the last 40 days is the only model that will keep us going in the future. So I want to thank all of you for what you have done in the last 40 days. And I want to thank you in advance for what you will do in the coming months. Thank you for your suggestions. My email is rajeev@rajeev.in, rajeev@rajeev.in. Please feel free to send emails to me anytime, contact me anytime. And through Harish or anybody, if anybody wants to contact me directly for any particular issue that you're not having a solution for, I will be very happy to get involved and support you. So, dhanyavadagalu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Rajeev, Lalita here. One last thing. Rajeev, this is on a KCDC thing. I just wanted to request you, with good air around KCDC, still stinking in case Kudlu Gate, Som Sundar Palya.
Lisa, I am not a person to run away from commitments that I have given. And on KCDC, I gave a commitment. But the problem of solid waste management in our city is structurally so deeply damaged and needs really rebuilding, that unless the whole structure is put into place, if the government touches one piece of it, the entire thing collapses. So this issue is known to me. It is a commitment that I have made to the people. It is something I will deliver on. I and the government and the MLAs and MPs are all working together for a brighter Bengaluru. Nobody has run away. I keep getting trolled on Twitter that Rajeev Chandrasekhar, you made a commitment and you're running away from it. I am not the kind of person who runs away from any promise. When I make a promise, I deliver on it. Unfortunately, there are some powers that I have and some powers I don't have. I am only an MP, as you know. I am not the government. But we are working hard to put into place a permanent, sustainable solution for Bengaluru's solid waste management. So
it's the same app which I have
please give me some time.
Hey, thanks, Rajeev. But least is we don't want testing every 24.
I know that. I have come there. I have
around. Please come and see. We are unable to even sleep in these COVID and silent times. That is the only humble
I understand.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Hi, Rajeev. This is
Thank you.
I did not get an opportunity to talk, but
hello.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll be sending my suggestions through email.
Okay. Dhanyavadagalu.
Thanks, school children and mates.
Thank you. Good night. Good evening.
Welcome.
Only one small point, sir.
You send me an email.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.